Okay, guys, welcome to What's the 411. I'm so excited. Today is Monday, February 27th. It is 7 o'clock. So I want you guys to get ready, be prepared, because this is part one of What's the 411 today. We're going to be doing two parts. We've got two special guests, but up first, I will let her introduce herself. She was a very special guest on our A Seat at Our Table, the very first in-person edition. So I want you guys to welcome Miss Bent right here to What's the 411. Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Miss Ellie. Thank you again for having me. So, yes, my name is Siobhan Bent. I am a mom of one. I'm a mortgage broker and have been for over 22 years. 22 years. And I'm also a legacy coach. I'm all things financial empowerment. I truly believe that when we understand how money works, then we can use it to work for us as opposed to us just working for it. I'm very passionate on educating the community about financial literacy, financial management, investing. And as a mom, I'm truly passionate about reminding moms that we got to take care of ourselves too on a holistic level. So thank you again for having me. And let's get into it.
Awesome, awesome. So talk to us about this journey because you've been a mortgage broker for what you said, 21 years?
22 years, yeah.
22 years? My gosh, that is quite some time. So talk to us about the journey. Like, how did you get there? What inspires you to keep going?
Okay, so how I got into the industry was really by fluke, I guess I could say. By fluke, but I think also it was definitely ordained. God knew what he was doing, even though I really didn't have a clue. So I bought my first property at the age of 23, and that was really stemmed by me having enough of being in the house with my mom. I was the eldest of three children, and she had me at the age of 15. So we technically grew up together, right? And so we did butt heads quite a bit. And so I got to a point where I was like, no, I feel like I need some independence. I need some freedom. And so I decided that I was going to move. And I knew that with my move, I had two options. I was either going to move and rent and pay someone else, or I was going to move and buy and pay myself. And so I decided to buy. I had zero knowledge of the real estate industry. I had zero knowledge of mortgages. I had zero knowledge, right? But I did get connected with a mortgage agent who then connected me with a real estate agent, and they literally held my hand through the process. But shortly after purchasing my property, and just maybe about a year and a half to 2 years, I noticed that my realtor, she kept following up and asking me if I wanted to sell. And I was like, lady, I just got here. Like, why would I want to sell? And it was then that I realized that my property had been appreciating. Every year that she was reaching out is because my balance of my mortgage was reducing, but the property value was increasing, which would give me equity that I could now use and buy another property. But as I said, I had no knowledge of what real estate really could do, right? And so, she kept coming back. I was like, no, I'm not interested and not interested. And so it was about 4 years later. I finally decided that it was time for more space. I wanted a garage. I wanted to be able to walk into my house through the garage and all that. And so I decided to sell. And it was there I made over $40,000 from that investment. And I was like, okay, well, this is what real estate really is. Then I need to be tapping in. And so through my mom, luckily enough, she connected me with an old friend who was building a team. She's like, I don't know what she wants. She said, just come see her. She's building a team. And at this time, I was working at what I thought was the path to my dream job. I always wanted to be a customs officer. When you're going through the border and say, yes, you can come in, no, you can't. I was working at a custom brokerage, but I was tired. I was depressed. I was unhappy. I was miserable because I realize now that I wasn't cut out to be a 9 to 5 type of girl, right? I'm a little rebellious. I like to do things on my own time with my own schedule. And I went to go see the lady, and it just so happened that she was building a mortgage team. And so that was a Thursday evening. We went to see her. I quit my job the next morning, and I haven't looked back. So that's how I got into the industry. It's been beautiful. It's been beautiful for the most part. It is a very challenging industry, but love it just the same.
That is huge, but we got to go back to being 23 and purchasing your first property. That is huge. That's big. That is big. That is not something that you always, you don't regularly hear about that. A lot of people at 23, as you mentioned, you may be butting heads with your parents, but you're jumping out there into the renting pool. You're not really investing that in, like, putting your money aside and saying, you know what, I'm going to put this towards my own property. So you got to big up yourself on that one. That is huge.
Thank you.
Huge. Yeah, man. So you started this journey, you're going on. Talk to us about like what educational wealth is, because at that point you might have started learning about like what educational wealth is when it relates to real estate.
Right. So it was really, in the beginning, it really just started as a job, right? Because now I was a property owner and now I went from having a stable paycheck every 2 weeks to now being a 100% commission. So I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I had to be focused. So I was really focused on just getting business done. It was essentially at that time, it was like a shift from, working for somebody, but now working for myself. It was just my job. But later on, as I eventually convinced my mom to make her own purchase, because we grew up in housing, right? It was never something that she thought she was going to do. But I convinced her and she eventually did purchase a property. It was literally like the light bulb went on for me. I was like, okay, well, if I could have that type of impact on my own mom, because she's one of those old school thinkers, it's not possible. I can't afford it. Money doesn't grow on trees. Like all of those thought processes, that's where she's kind of still to this day. God bless her. But it wasn't until that transpired, and then shortly after I had my own son, and I was passionate about the job already, of course, the career or the industry, passionate and excited that I was able to help my mom make that one move that truly shifted the trajectory of her retirement. And then now I had my own son. So it was now my job to now set the tone for my son. Right. And so my passion for myself, my purpose for my own life and creating a legacy for him trickled into my job, my business. And so that's where I created my community Mortgages for Moms, that I focus mainly on the financial education. Right. So it's great that you can get a mortgage. It's great that you have the opportunity to invest, but it really starts with financial literacy and understanding how to be a master steward of your money so that you can be in a position to invest.
And that's important, being a master steward. I like the way you said that, like, it's important, because a lot of us, like, we have that mindset embedded in us, it's not possible. Like money doesn't, all those things that you were saying, I'm like, I've heard that before, like, every single term. So yeah, it really, really is important. But how would you define financial literacy?
It's awareness. It's awareness and knowing that financial education is really understanding the power of your dollar, right? Institutionally, we've been trained to go to school, get a job, pay into a pension, and retire at 65, right? That's the institutional system that most of us have been raised in, right? Like to this day, my mom still doesn't understand entrepreneurship. And my sister is an entrepreneur as well. And every so often she'd be like, so aren't you guys going to pay into your pension? And we're like, no, we are a pension. Like we are a pension. And the pension you think you're getting, you probably won't have it, right? So in terms of education, just knowing that it's not as simple as it has been presented to us. It's not just getting a job. It's not just paying into an RRSP. It's not just saving your money in the bank account, right? It's a lot more than, there's more than the traditional type of financial education. And so exposing yourself and making yourself aware to what's available to you at your level, right? I think is what financial literacy really is, making yourself aware of what's available to you and taking action steps.
Very, very important. But there's also a big importance on understanding home ownership. Like we may not always in our community, especially, understand the importance and the significance of owning your own property. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, that goes back to money 101, the basics, paying yourself first. And I mentioned that to you, right? Back then, when I made that decision, I had no idea what that meant. And everyone has to live somewhere, right? You got to live somewhere. And actually, I read a quote that said, everyone participates in the real estate game. You just have to decide which team you're playing for, right? And so homeownership is one of, I mean, there's several ways that you can invest your money, but real estate has proven itself to be the most secure investment year over year over year over year over year. And so when you look at some of the wealthiest people in the world, a large part of their wealth was and still is rooted in real estate, because real estate is something tangible. You can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it. So making headway into positioning yourself to become a homeowner or an investor, right? We live in the GTA, Miss Ellie, and so we know that housing prices is not, for the average Canadian anymore. But there's many ways that you can get into real estate, right? So it's really, again, understanding the principle of learning how to pay yourself first. And so having your money invested in something that you can get a return on your investment on a monthly basis, right? That could be through cash flow, yearly basis, that could be through appreciation, or through profit, selling property, right? So through equity. So there's different ways that you can reap the rewards of investing in real estate, but making that one of your pillars is definitely important.
That is very, very huge. So talk to us a bit about how we could understand the importance of ownership equaling opportunity.
Well, again, there's no vehicle that's going to give you the return on your investment at the rate that real estate gives it to you. I mean, over the last few years, we know that we've been in some really, really weird times, right? Nothing has been, history has never experienced this before. But what we have experienced is appreciation through real estate. So let's say go back to pre-pandemic, 2019, the average appreciation of homes in the GTA was anywhere between 4 to 6%. So you put in $10,000 into a property, every year your money is going to increase by $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. There's no savings account that you can put your money into that is going to give you that return. None. Absolutely none. No RSP, no TFSA, nothing, right? And so that's where investing and learning how to get it. Sorry, I lost your question, but that's where the power of ownership really lies, is that because there's no other investment that is going to give you the return on the investment that any other vehicle would give you.
Definitely the ownership equals opportunity there for sure.
Makes your money grow. That's yes. Your money will grow at a pace that no other investment will allow it to grow, which positions you to purchase more real estate. Right? So if your money is growing, you can do more with your money.
So you just mentioned too, like how difficult it is right now for us to get into the market for some individuals who haven't tapped in yet. What are some ways that we could kind of get ourselves in there? Maybe we don't have the down payment, or I'm not sure, like what are some ways that we can start to tap in?
I think the key way right now is to partner. Find a partner, joint ventures. Someone may not have the down payment, but they may have good credit, and then someone else may have the down payment but may not have such great credit. Or if you have siblings, pool with your siblings. Right? Everybody's got to have something invested in the transaction, but partnership is definitely, I think, the number one way to move further faster in this market. The second way could be expanding your options. Most of us live in the GTA, right? And so therefore, because this is what we're accustomed to, this is where we also want to purchase. But we might have to expand our horizons a little bit, right? And move on the outskirts of the GTA. Thirdly, again, it's really getting in control of your money. Because as much as real estate to purchase is expensive, it's just as expensive to rent. All right. So how are we working our money so that it can work for you versus keeping you where you are and keeping you away from the ability to invest? So understanding your money, I think, would be the third thing.
Yeah, it's also to just getting rid of an old mindset as well. Like, because if you're stuck in that mindset where, money doesn't grow on trees, or, it doesn't, you just can't do it, then you will be stuck in that same place of renting and that cycle of not being able to get out, too. It's hard. But you mentioned, you have your son there. Talk to us about, you said you're building a legacy. You are also a legacy coach. Tell us what that means.
For me, as a legacy coach, and people are like, what is a legacy coach? Everything that I do as a person, I want that to be a part of my legacy. Most times when we hear the word legacy, we only think financial. Right? What is the finances that we are going to, the amount of money that we're going to leave for our children or our children's children? And yes, that's a big part of it. But I feel as a mom, right, as I said, being the eldest of 3 children, raised by a teenage mom, I witnessed how stressed she was. And that's because, as a mom, you put your children first, right? It's your priority to take care of your children. And in that process, sometimes you get left out of the loop. And as you get older, as your children get older and they become independent, there could be some other festering feelings that start to develop. And I don't want to experience that. So as a mother, my goal is to really take care of myself on a holistic level. And so I call my legacy pillars that's going to hold my house together. So my spiritual life, my relationship with God, working on it every single day to make sure that, I'm getting direct instructions from Him. My second pillar is personal and physical. So personal development, my mind, working on my mind. Because you've said a few times, our mindset. Like, we don't know what we don't know. And so there's so much more that we can know. So we have to position ourselves in rooms and spaces and with people that know more than what we have known. Right. And so expanding my mind, making sure that I'm continuously growing. I've been on a health journey for a long, long time. It goes up and down. But, without my physical health, nothing else is going to work for me, right? And so we know that, people are passing away younger and younger. So I got to do my part to try to make sure that my temple is at the best based off what I can do, control what I can control. My third pillar is my community pillar, because I do believe that it takes a village. And as years have gone on, that we've kind of lost that essence of village. For various reasons. People are just busy, like life is just lifing, right? The pandemic, elevated that. We've kind of, like, I'm still working on breaking out of my my bubble, right? So it's just really making sure that it's not just me. I'm not relying on just me to do it all. I don't want to be the one to do it all. I want my son to be exposed to other people, other communities, other, voices of reason, and not just my own. So I'm really, really working on that. Thank you again for having me at the seat of the table, because it's still in my bubble. So just really building my social and my community so that he has access to other people. And then, of course, the last pillar is the financial pillar, because it takes money to do everything, right? It's not always about money, but without money, you can't do anything, right? So I'm just making sure that I'm doing what I can to not only survive and to live, but really to thrive. I want my son to be available, have access to things that he wants to have access to, right? I really don't want to live a life with restrictions. And this is kind of why it goes back to me shifting from being an employee to an entrepreneur. I like to have freedom and flexibility to do things when I want to do that. And so you require finance to do that. So money for today, but also for the future. So that's what I mean by legacy.
Okay, so of course, there's so many of us that need your skills, your help, your expertise when it comes to being a legacy coach. Talk to us about what that would look like if somebody wanted to reach out to you for coaching.
Okay, so I've been doing this, my coaching On the low for a little bit. It's been exclusively offered to people who attend my workshops, my free workshops. So what I have been doing is just working with people to get their finances in order, like just to have a system that is working for you. So many people just really only focus on how much they get paid when it gets deposited in their account. And by then it's usually gone, right? Everything is taken out, food, groceries, all of that stuff. And so how do you work with me? You can just reach out to me on all my social platforms. I do have a questionnaire that you would have to complete to make sure that, you're ready, because there is an investment. And so really what we're going to do is just work on your mindset, right? Get very, very clear on your money, incoming, outgoing, investment, and savings, and create a foundation for you and a plan. Create a system that's going to work for you based on where you are, and a blueprint for where you want to go.
Love that. I love that. So talk to us. I mean, we talked a little bit about it before, but what are some major ways that we can start to overcome the misconceptions of home ownership, especially when it comes to our community?
I think, again, it goes back to how we use our money. Something that we have never been taught about was credit, the use of credit and debt. And so for a lot of people, they've messed up their credit, starting with student loans, not being able to manage the repayment process. Then they've also acquired consumer debt. So understanding that every dollar that you earn or you work for is not yours. And so you have to be mindful of where you're spending it or where you're investing it. I.e., if you are carrying a balance with credit, you're literally throwing money at the bank and just saying, here, right? Those dollars that you paid to consumer credit cards, that's like 18, 20%. Sometimes I've seen as much as 30% that you are giving the bank, that's taking away from you and your ability. So how do we change our mindset? Knowing that you are the master of your money and you have to dictate where it goes. So being clear on how you're spending, right? Understanding how you're spending, and be willing to make changes, right? Be willing to make changes. I don't personally like the word sacrifice, but you got to make changes in order to create change. Nothing changes if nothing changes if nothing changes, right? So getting on top of your money. I like to use the 3G system, right? So the other thing is making sure that where you are financially is at your optimal level. So are you making as much money as you can possibly make? Or have you accepted that this is where you are and this is all that you can acquire, right? So maximizing your income potential, and that could look like asking for raise at your current job. That could look like starting a side hustle, right? That could look like switching jobs, switching careers, going back to school, learning a different skill set, right? So we all have the same amount of hours. So how are you leveraging that time? And then the second G is to give every dollar that you earn a job, right? It's better to tell it where to go than to wonder where it went, right? So you got to pay for your shelter, you got to pay for your food, you got to pay, if you have children, you got to pay for your children. But it's the miscellaneous that usually gets lost in the wind. Where is the rest of it going? And this is not to guilt anybody or to make anybody feel ashamed, because we're in a society that is structured to take our money from us, right? Without us even looking. So just being a master steward of your money, and be the steward and telling every dollar that you earn where to go. And then the last G is to grow, making sure that whatever you're spending your money on, that there is some type of financial return on the investment.
My goodness. Oh, the one that hit me the most is give every dollar a job. Like, yes. Sometimes you're like, you have $20 in your pocket. You're like, how do I only have change left? Like, where did my money go? Like, what? right? Like how did that even happen? So my goodness, no, those are really, really important keys to remember. But talk to us about your why. You are out here, you're doing the thing. Not only did you start out with your home ownership at 23, but now you are changing the lives of so many different people. You started Mortgages for Moms, you're a legacy coach, you are out here teaching us, educating us. Talk to us about your why.
My why, and for the longest time, my why was obviously me, because, why not me? And then I had my son, and I realized that, he's my why. And then I'm just like, no, he's really not, because if I'm okay, he's gonna be okay, right? That's almost a given. And then I really had to like peel the layers back, and I'm gonna try not to get emotional, but I had to peel the layers back, and I realized that my mom is my why. Because as I said, she had me at 15, and she had my brother at 19, and then my sister a little bit later. But I realized there's so much that she missed out on, not only because she had us early, like that was her choice, but she fell into the system, and without anyone being able to pour into her and teach her and show her more to life, like she's just literally laser focused in, get your job, work your hours, pay your pension. And so she's my why. I really need to make sure I'm positioned in a way that she can live a life of freedom when she's ready to retire.
That is beautiful, 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 beautiful. So talk to us, because you have another step, another announcement, a big, big move that you're making. So we're excited to hear about this podcast that you have coming up. So talk to us about it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know, I'm a little shy, right? So
Stop this. Stop this.
I'm a little shy. I'm actually a lot shy. I've evolved over the pandemic. Social media gives you, some purge. You know what I'm saying? But I'm usually the quiet one in the room. Like things will be happening. There'll be, life will be happening, and you won't even recognize that Siobhan's there. That I'm usually the silent one. And the Lord has just been pushing me to talk. I'm like, I don't want to talk. Like, I don't want to talk. But a few years ago, I surrendered a little bit, and I started a series on Instagram called the Mama Means Business Show. And this is where, I would just invite various moms who had businesses to come and to share what they do, share, who they serve, and how they do it. Because I mean, as a mom on her own, it's a big job. And then when you're running a business, girl, right? So that's where it started. But as we grow, the things that we do should also grow too. And so he's been leaning me towards a podcast slash YouTube, which I'm thinking is, probably it's gonna hold off on that part, but podcast. So the Mama Means Business show is going to be launching next month on all audio platforms. It's going to still be the same concept, where inviting moms who own businesses, because of course, Miss Ellie, I hope you know that there's an invitation coming, but just I sidebar. Moms who own businesses to just really share. I feel like we need to lift each other up, support each other, share what we do, because there's so many moms that understand the power of doing things unconventionally, i.e. business. But there's so many moms that are still afraid to do that, because as I said, raising children plus building a business, it's a lot of work. And I think that, as the term on TikTok is no more gatekeeping, we need to share, we need to ask for help, and we need to market ourselves. So Mama Means Business podcast coming soon, and I'm excited.
That sounds so exciting. And you definitely know I will be there for sure, 100%. You just let me know when, and I will definitely pop on. But that's exactly what you're saying. We need to definitely get together, share our experiences, share the knowledge, because I feel like even telling stories, everybody needs to know what you're up to. They can either pour into your business or refer you to somebody that needs your business, because we all know people, And that's how we get our word out and build that confidence, because I'm a shy one too. Like I started this as well, like so easy to be behind the camera, you know what I mean? But then in real life, it's like, oh my God, it's crazy. But yeah, no, I'm excited. So because next month is like in 2 days. Tomorrow's the end of the
Don't
month.
even remind me. Don't remind me. Don't remind me.
When does the show start?
So I mean, he's putting me on the spot. Okay, so initially it was going to be March 8th, International Women's Day, but I'm having some scheduling challenges, but the trailer will be at least out the 8th. So my goal would be 2 weeks after to launch the first episode. So before then,
Beautiful.
for sure.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, International Women's Day. I forgot about that. That is coming up. Yes. And this is an important conversation to have, like with all the moms, because we, as you mentioned, need that time for ourselves too, to share with each other, but also know that we have to build with each other. Hand in hand, helping each other grow and supporting each other, even if it's just by sharing our stories. So I love it. I can't wait to see it, because I see you spotlighting already. You've been doing a lot of spotlights this month too, right?
Yes, for the month of February, Lord just like do it. So I'm like, okay. And so I just wanted to, every day for the month of February, I found or connected with a Black mom owned business. And so I featured her on my social media page. As I also, he gave me this a few years ago too, the marketplace for moms. So it's a directory that I'm building that will have all mom owned businesses. Yeah.
Hey, it's okay. So are you guys going to be doing some pop-ups and stuff?
Okay. What time is it?
Well, we cannot wait to hear what else you guys have going on. I love to hear it. It's awesome. Just let us know when you have your advertisements ready. Send it to me. I'll definitely share it to my platforms. Let everybody taps in. You know what I mean? So talk to us about what keeps you motivated and inspired. I know definitely you could talk about the Lord and his inspiration, because I see him pouring into you, but also it is you taking those ordered steps and just rolling with it, because it is.
Without him, let me tell you, okay? And I'm very stubborn at times too. So even if you see me step in, know that there's probably 10 other steps that I'm supposed to be doing that I haven't done yet. But what keeps me motivated? Not being the same. Like, I feel like we should be consistently evolving and growing, stretching ourselves. And it's the hardest thing to do. I put up the most resistance, right? But I don't want to be the same. I don't want to be the same. So just making sure that I'm continuously evolving so that, one, that my son can see it, two, that I can do my part in the world, because as I grow, I lift, and to just really make a lasting impact. Like when you hear Siobhan, the Black girl whose name does not make any sense when you look at the spelling, like, you'll be like, oh, but you know what? You know what I mean? Like, so it's really making an impact and being known for positivity and growth.
Well, you definitely did make a huge impact. I have to thank you again for coming to a seat at our table. I just connected with you online. It was another one of my famous online connections, and you came through and you did not disappoint. Everybody was talking about how powerful and impactful your message was, and how like right on time the message was as well, when it comes to just putting ourselves out there when it comes to finances and just investing in real estate and property, getting ourselves out of that rut and that mindset, and just pushing ourselves, So it was a great conversation. I have to thank you. And we're excited to hear what else you have going on. So let us know your Instagram handle, or where else we can get in contact with you if we need to get a mortgage, get some advice.
Mortgage. I'll first caveat, my handle is mortgages for moms with the number 4. I do serve everyone. All right. People be like, but I'm not a mom. Can you help me? Absolutely, I can help you. So you can find me on all social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. at Mortgages for Moms, or my personal name is I am Siobhan Bent, and that's spelled IAMSIOBHAN, Bent, BENT.
Awesome. And do you have anybody you want to shout out? Anybody want to say what's up to?
Thank you. Because as you said, like, you connected with me through social, and I'm saying like over the last few years, this is where the hub of my community has really been built. And so social media, it has its negative, aspect attributes, but it's truly been a blessing for me in the last 3 years. So I want to shout you out. Thank you. I see what you're doing, Miss Ellie, and I do recognize that you are, very humble and quiet, but I know you're going to make some power moves throughout the city. And so yeah, thank you for the connection. I truly appreciate it.
All right, I appreciate you too, and no problem. This is what I love to do, is try to get people connected in our city, because when I started this, they said that this was like, oh, Toronto's a screw face city, we're also kind of mean, and I'm like, it's not true. We
are.
We hold a screw face,
but underneath the screw face,
right?
the screw face, we have heart, we love.
I'm telling you, you know what it is, right? So that's just what we're trying to show, the 416 love. So it's just love all out in the community. And yeah, social media is the bomb. It has been great linking up. But before I let you go, I have to ask you if you have a quote or anything that you'd like to leave us with that just we can hold on to when we remember the conversation tonight.
Whoa. Well, it's not a quote, it's my scripture. And it's not money related, but it applies to us again as selves, as being. And my life scripture is, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength.
Powerful. Yep. And I agree. I definitely agree with that one. Love it.
Church. All right.
Let's go. No. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you for coming through and chatting with me. And I look forward to the podcast. So do let us know the date that we can tune in. All right.
Thank you again, Miss Ellie. Have a great night.
You too. Bye. Take care. All right, guys. As you heard, we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us. So make sure you guys take that message and run with it this week. It's going to be a great week. As we mentioned, we just have like one more day left in February. So although Black History Month ends tomorrow, just never forget that Black history is 24/7, 365 days. It is all year round. So make sure that you are not only checking into your own Black history and how it affects you and how you can learn something new. You definitely want to make sure that you are celebrating the history, especially Canadian history, every single day. So I want to send a big thank you and a shout out to everybody who tuned in today. Thank you so much to Miss Siobhan Bent, who came through to give us the expertise on mortgages. And if you guys want to tap in for all of us who, whether you're a mom, a dad, or neither, you can definitely reach out to her. She is here to service all people in and outside of our community. So make sure that you guys tap in, check her out. Just let her know that you're looking to whatever you're looking to do, whether it's look into her mortgage aspect of the game, or you're looking for a legacy coach. And you know what, as moms, we do so much. So I'm sure she's got some other things going on as well. All right. So make sure you guys are tapping in. Okay. On Instagram, you could find her, Mortgages for Moms. She's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm sure she said LinkedIn. I can't remember, but she's on all social media platforms as Mortgages for Moms, or I am Siobhan Bent. All right. So you guys have yourselves a great evening, and make sure you guys stick around, because in about 20 more minutes, I'm going to be back here with another special guest, Yannick Russell, for part 2 of What's the 411. All right. Thank you guys. I will see you soon.